members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
Welcome to our discussion reaction review of Andor episode 9, called No One Is Listening.
No one is listening.
It's always fun when the main character that the show is named after, actually uses the line of the title in the actual show of the episode. We just watched the episode. We're instantly reacting and discussing. So part of what this is going to be for me is working my way through my feelings.
Okay.
Now, I think this is a really, really good episode. And I know that it actually does ratchet up the tension and the story and everything going on. But my initial, as soon as the episode got done, that was it.
Really?
Yeah, and that's why I said I need to kind of work through my feelings of it, because I really do feel like nothing happened, but I also can recognize that there was a bunch of shit that happened.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, as we walk down the alleyway of finding the true reasons the show is awesome, I may veer into a different alley and come back around.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. So, we've got the Deidre Morrow plot line. We've got, which kind of coincides with what's going on with Biggs. We've got Andor in the prison storyline.
Right.
And then we've got the Mon Mothma and who Vel really is storyline. And so you've got all those kind of independent of each other, all directly connected to each other.
Yes. But not, like, they don't know it yet. We don't know it yet.
I at least with the Deidre Morrow story arc and what she's doing as an ISB officer, and her going to Karn and torturing Bix and everybody else, and that whole sequence to find out where Cassian is so they can get the access to his Luthen, right? So like that whole story is directly connected to everything that kind of is happening to Cassian. At least I feel like it is, because they're searching for Cassian, and Cassian is in hiding. They just don't know he's in hiding in an Imperial prison.
He is hiding. He is. I mean, you can't say he's in hiding. He didn't get in there to begin with. But honestly, it's working out for him,
right?
Because they probably would have found him already.
You ever watched a movie and thought, like, this is just visually amazing, and I just love the way it looks, and the colors are amazing? Well, our friends over at Movie Palette have come up with these great pieces of art that you could put up on your wall to show your love of movies without really necessarily being overly dramatic about it. Think of a movie barcode kind of thing, where you can look at the colors and know what the movie is, but it's very, very subtle. If you know us, we are into Tron Legacy. The music and the lights and the color itself is just amazing. Just to give you an idea of what they have, go to moviepalette.com, find your own personal favorite movie, your movie color palette, and have it hang on your wall. At checkout, put in Pop Culture 15 to get 15% off. Thank you, Movie Palette, for sponsoring this video. Link is in the description down below. And don't forget, use Pop Culture 15 at checkout to get 15% off your order. Right. And they actually even had a conversation in the ISB office that Deidre's assistant, controlling manager, whatever, he even stood up and said he shaved his beard.
Yeah.
And so, like the information they have is wrong, but they don't know that he's in hiding because he's in prison.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like that scene, I mean, we're kind of jumping forward, but I kind of felt like that scene was, like, they keep beating her down. Not that I feel for Deidre at all, but they keep the men in the room, because she's basically the only woman in there,
Right.
keep beating her down and beating her down and beating her down and beating her down. Well, what about this? And why haven't you done this? And how come you're not doing this or whatever?
Right.
And him just jumping up, kind of to her defense. Like here's what's going on. He shaved his beard, and they were all like, oh, okay, and you could kind
Right.
of see that she was thankful, and she
Right.
said
Right.
thank you, afterwards. So it was just like, stop beating her up,
Right. But and they
which
even
I mean, beat her up. She's a
she's
horrible, horrible
horrible
person.
because her suggestion that they found a rebel pilot and they talked about the next big plan is the power station, which they mentioned. Luthen mentioned like 4 episodes ago after
Yeah,
they did the heist.
yeah,
Um, they even mentioned that instead of interrogating him or imprisoning him or whatever, to use him as bait to see if they could get other rebel cells, other rebel people to show up to try to help him. And they made a point of saying, well, we'll just kill him, make it look like an accident. We'll throw the ship into a transport lane,
hmm
and somebody will eventually find it. And so it looks like, but so they're actively murdering people to better the empire's
yeah, yeah. I mean,
position.
this episode was really, like you've been saying the whole time, that you have been wanting them to show the darker side, and this episode was super dark as far
Right.
as the Empire and the ISB goes, right? Which ISB is connected to the Empire, but she tortured Bix, or had Bix tortured,
Right.
to and like she broke her mind. I mean, I don't know if Bix is going to come back from that,
Yeah.
and and she was, Vix even pointed out, you're like, you enjoy this, and it doesn't matter what I tell you, you're going to do it anyway.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So and then her, hey, we'll just kill him, throw him in the ship, and then that way they don't know we caught him and know all this information. But we kill him, then they're gonna know, and
Right.
if we imprison him, they're gonna know. So we
Right.
need to make it look like it was an accident, and we didn't have anything
Which is
to
a
do with it.
sinister thing to do. And
Yeah,
I, from my point of view, as we sit on episode 9, previously I thought that she was like a Orson Krennic kind of person who was
yeah,
working her way up the
yeah,
command structure. This is she's enjoying this. She's enjoying the hunt. She's enjoying the torture. Her first idea of a solution was to kill somebody off.
yeah.
Like she's a psychopath.
Right,
And I
right,
was trying to think of something else to say, but from where we sit right now, this could change in 3 episodes or whatever.
right.
She's a psychopath.
Yeah, no, I definitely think she is, because she's, like, her mind went there. But um, this whole episode was just kind of about how bad the Empire really is, right? Because
Right.
then if you go to Cassian in the
Yep.
prison, and ultimately we end up finding out that what happened on level 2 was that they just recycled somebody who got out
Yep.
of level 4, shoved him in there. Somebody recognized him, and the whole team revolted. The whole floor revolted
And so they killed off
and
100 men
killed them all off. Yep. So,
to build their widget that I don't think is actually for anything.
all right, I'm still on the Death
A
Star.
lot of people are still on the Death Star, which is why I'm hedging my bets because I think it's better odds. But it's a widget that doesn't mean anything. They take the cards, they put it behind. Droids take it all apart,
Yeah,
and they just
maybe.
recycle all those parts.
Yeah,
And I think at
maybe.
some point in time, one of them's gonna notice a nick that they had seen
Yeah,
on one of the pieces
yeah, that
before.
they made or
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
but that's for a prison, keeping them physically active for 12 hours a day, and where they can't really conspire too much,
Yeah,
although
there's
it
only
does.
7 people at the table, so
Right, but they actually are conspiring.
yeah,
They did
yeah,
show Cassian taking his refresher break to go in, and they're filing down some pipe.
yeah, like a conduit or something so
Yeah,
that they can short out the floor. But then he notices that they don't have the floor electrified when they bring a new person in, which I think next episode, now that Olaf,
Olaf,
Olf,
Olaf, yeah,
Olaf,
Olaf.
um, has died. They killed him, put him out of his misery, whatever. Um, they're going to have to bring a new person in, right?
Right,
Because now he's table short.
right,
So I think that might be what they do now that they've seen that the floor isn't electrified up on the catwalk when they
R-
bring him in.
right,
Now
right.
they have to bring somebody in. I was kind of thinking maybe it was all a ruse, that Olaf wasn't really sick, and that it was just a thing to maybe get that to happen or
Right, right.
whatever. But then they, yeah,
Well, and the concern on everybody's face when nobody was really watching was kind of an indication for me that he actually was having problems.
yeah, yeah,
The,
yeah. I
the,
mean, in the beginning when he
in the
was,
beginning, yeah,
I was like,
yeah, it
oh,
was.
maybe they're gonna have him fake something. So, but yeah, no,
Cassian. The show is called Andor. We don't spend a lot of time talking about Andor. But Cassian going to Kino, Andy Serkis's character, who's kind of the floor lead, and asked like sitting across from him in the cell and like interrogating him with the whole, have you ever thought about escaping? And Kino's like, no, I haven't. Like I've got a job. We're getting everything done. It's this.
I'm doing my
I'm
time
doing my
so I can
time so
get
I can get
out.
out. I've got 214 days or something like that. Is what he said. So he's got less than a Earth calendar year.
Right,
It could be different, whatever. But
right.
shifts. He's got 214 shifts, and he just doesn't want to hear it. And Cassian the entire time is saying, "No one is listening." Roll credits. And um, how many guards are on each floor?
Yeah,
And kind of like they kind of pointed this out when they were getting ready to do the heist at the dam, that Cassian is very aware of his surroundings.
yeah.
He was the one that pointed out that everybody was what a primary hand they have and how
Hmm.
the stance should be, and like he was the one who was pointing out all these little details that nobody else was really paying attention to.
Yep.
And now Cassian is in this prison where he's able to repeatedly watch the process over and over and
Yeah,
over
because it's
again.
supposedly at least the same process every single time.
Yep, yep. And so he's able to look at the guard rotations and notice notice things like the boot rack when he came in and how
Hmm.
many guards are on each floor, and if there's only 11 guards on the floor and they can get away from the floor itself when it's electrified,
Hmm.
then they're going to overrun the guards very very easily.
Yeah. Well, and if they can get up onto the catwalk, um, and take the two guards that were, as long as there's two guards that bring the next guy in,
Yeah,
they get up on the catwalk. They can take their boots,
yeah.
and then they can run out to the the boot rack, grab a bunch of other boots,
And yep,
give
yep.
them to the to
And
those guys.
now all you need is, you know, 10 prisoners against 10 kind of imperial douchebag guards. I like those who are imprisoned at that point in time, especially somebody like Cassian, who is, he's a fighter. He's able
Yeah,
to pull stuff off, and he's not the only one in there who's like that.
right.
Even if a bunch of them are in there for false reasons or made up reasons or whatever it ends up being. And so yeah, it was just like, it's like I can see where this is going, but it's not until Olaf finally succumbs to whatever he's having with, and they call the medic,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
It was having a stroke.
and
Yeah,
ends up he had a massive stroke. And the medic was like, I can't do anything for him. And Cassian asks the medic like what happened on level 2, because they're hearing all these rumors but they don't know anything for sure.
right.
And so the medic tells Kino that like, you need to keep your guy, like you need to keep people in line.
Yeah,
And they finally get the guard to leave to go check and see if the gurney's coming.
yeah.
and he comes back and he tells them about they had a mix up and all this stuff happens, and the guard comes back and Olaf is gone, and Kino and Cassian start walking off, and Cassian asks them, how many guards on each floor? He said, no more than 11. Okay, finally, you got in.
Yeah,
got
well,
to
the
him.
whole episode after Cassian and him had the conversation in their bunks, the seed has been planted. And so now he's like, these little things are happening that are pissing him off and pissing him off and pissing him off and pissing him off. And then his whole hope and dream of I only have 200 more days or whatever to be there and then I'm out, basically gets shattered when the medic tells him, that, they just moved the guy from 4 who got out down to 2, and he's like, oh, we're never getting out of here, and now I'm pissed off.
So this, like I said, I'm working through my feelings. This actually came to my head. Kino is a representation of people inside the Empire who need some final straw to join the rebellion.
Yeah.
He is,
not even inside the Empire, but the day-to-day people who are just, I'm just going to keep my head down and keep doing my job and not
everybody who's on Ferrix.
Yeah,
same thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people on Ferrix that are
right.
Fighting the secret rebellion or whatever, but yeah, most of the people on most of the planets are like, just don't make eye contact with the stormtroopers and everything's gonna be fine.
It's very kind of, if you as an audience member haven't figured out, I mean, the tagline for the show is "Rebellion Begins" in Andor.
Yeah.
And if you've been struggling with this idea of just seeing the Empire being evil, hello, welcome to Star Wars. It's more than just pew pew and laser swords and pretty spaceships. But
it is now. I mean, I don't watch the cartoons and all the other stuff, but for somebody who's just watched the movies, I even said it during this. I'm like, okay, this is not your pew pew Star Wars.
Yeah.
These people are evil.
These are people, evil, fascists, Nazis. I'm gonna get demonetized because I said the N word. But this is what Lucas was trying to tell everybody.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like to be under a fascist government.
Yeah.
And how we talked about it last week, and they just talked about it again in Tales of the Jedi. We are safer with more oversight, more security, more.
It's for your safety.
If it's for your safety. And that is the exact same thing that fascist governments do over and over and over again. They get people riled up that those people over there are to blame for your.
They're coming to take your whatever.
They're coming to take your.
So we're going to make you safe.
Right, and so we are the party that's going to make you safe, and then you turn around and you give up your rights to thunderous applause, adding the prequels in, and then you come down. Now we're 9 years after the prequels, and we're like, oh, this is, or 10 years after the prequels, and people are starting to realize, no, this is shit.
Yeah,
like our planet is being just eradicated. The populace is being, our traditions are the things that make us who we are, is being eradicated. Our planets are being destroyed. We're being more and more oppressed. Somebody robbed a bank, and now the entire galaxy has triple their times. It's just it's Kino is an example for those people who haven't gotten it yet. That it's just easy to kind of play along for as long as you're comfortable, and you can have somebody come to you and say, look at what's wrong. Here's the thing. Look at what's wrong. And you're comfortable with what you're in and what you're doing. And it's when you realize that they're taking it all away and you get there on your own terms.
Yeah. Usually just telling somebody isn't enough, but you've planted the seed. And so now many people, not everyone, but many people will start to, it's the, what they call it, the blue car syndrome, right? You buy a blue car, your boyfriend had a blue car, whatever, and now all you see is blue cars.
Right.
It's like that seed has been, that little brain worm is in there, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was yeah, that was a bad thing, and oh, that's not great, and oh, that thing over there isn't great, and so you start to it gets you there.
Um, the reason I was bringing it up this way too is I'm going to bring in the Mon Mothma stuff now because it's directly the other side of this. She can see in what the Empire and the Emperor are in the ISB are doing. She can see it. She's a senator. She's from a very well-to-do planet. It'd be very easy for her just to turn a blind eye like her husband does
Hmm.
and to not do anything. But yet she is deciding to do something, and by doing something without really doing it the right way and covering her tracks, she's painted herself into a corner, and that her friend from I'm trying to remember what his name is. Dean? I don't remember what his name is. His her
Yeah,
friend from Trangella, who's helping her move money around. She started moving money around without really a plan or a way to hide it, and
right.
now she's kind of painted herself in a corner.
Yeah,
And now they have to go to some gangster to
yeah,
launder money,
yeah.
essentially.
To get her a loan so that she can put it back in the bank and then turn around and take it out again a little later because apparently she, like deposited a check and then turned around and took 400,000 credits,
Right.
turned around and took it right back out, and so he's like, yeah, that's not. But I mean, she's yeah, that's bad, and she's got to fix it. But she's also in the Senate spouting a lot of maybe not quite to the extremes, but she's still spouting this stuff.
Right.
And obviously the Senate is not behind her because everybody started turning off their lights and booing her and stuff. So she's got a big old target. I mean, I don't even know what the point is of trying to fix this money laundering thing or this, money coming in and then out of her account real quick.
Right.
I I feel like she's got bigger
She,
things to worry
I mean,
about.
she does, but like she said earlier, if everyone thinks I'm a nuisance, they're not really paying attention to what I'm really doing.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
so if this comes out and that she's been moving money around or
Yeah.
whatever, her personal money around,
Yeah.
it then people are going to have another set of ammunition against her, but more people are now going to look at her and say, "There's something fishy with her.
Yeah,
Maybe we
she's
should
not
look
just
into her
getting up
more."
and going, you know, you should not do this. This is bad.
Right.
She's actually actively participating.
Right, right. And so her whole thing at the Senate was very strong and intentionally heavy handed, again, from my point of view, of showing that she's actually trying to do good.
Hmm.
And people in the Senate and the House of Representatives are telling her the emperor is right, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
And vocally doing it, like overstepping their bounds, which is something that has happened recently both here in the States and in the UK.
Yeah.
Now, UK Parliament is full contact, and that's not even the worst Parliament we have around, but whatever. But that idea of somebody who's actually trying to do good is being publicly shunned or or publicly shut down while she's in the room that she's supposed to be able to do all this stuff
Yeah.
is just is just um heartbreaking, but also infuriating
Yeah.
because those back to what we were talking about with Kino, uh, those people are comfortable within the confines of the empire.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure, as it is in the regular world, those people are comfortable because they're comfortable. They're making good money or they've got position or whatever. And so they're of course they're not going to rock the boat. They've, whether they agree or not, they're and whether they're constituents or their planets or whatever are, agree. I mean, watch Phantom Menace.
Right.
The Padme's up there going,
Yep.
my planet is being taken over. The Trade Federation is taking us over, and you all are just sitting here going, huh, whatever.
It, it's hard not to talk about modern politics without talking about what's going on in the show because
Yeah.
it's a what direct 1-to-1 parallel. But today, the Fed increased interest rates again, and one of the main news stories was invest $10,000 in a bond to help your city. They'll will get you 7% back in interest.
Yeah.
And most people are like, I'm lucky to buy milk tomorrow for my
Yeah,
kids.
right. Have you looked at the price of eggs lately?
And this show is doing a parallel of that.
Yeah.
You've got what's going on in the Senate and all these people and Mothma's husband who are all living the good life and
Yeah.
and sure I'll invest in something or down the line it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit. I can't have 7 worm drinks. I can only have 4 worm drinks. Whatever. And then there's people on Ferrex who are actually physically working their asses off.
Yeah.
Who are having a hard time. Actually making ends meet.
Yeah.
And then the Empire comes in and takes over and starts interrogating, and they're going to hang the one guy in this square.
Yep.
Just like they did.
Yeah, that's not going to end well. By
yeah,
the way, it's
just like they did in the earlier with King, with Cassian's stepfather or foster father or whatever.
Yeah,
it's the same thing, and it's just I don't I know why this show ratings wise isn't doing what Boba Fett did, what Mandalorian did, is because there's no week to week wild speculation.
Yeah.
It's dealing with real world politics, real world issues. It's just wrapped up in a galaxy far, far away, and so people aren't getting online and talking about or having that engagement of, did you see blah blah blah's armor in the background, or Kosh the New showed up. It's so there's not that engagement thing going on. But yet this show is doing such important A, Star Wars conversation work, and B, real world conversation talk. And I'm here for all of it. Like, I'm here for what the House of the Dragon did with the patriarchy and all that kind of, what that make Westeros great again, and what, like the modernization.
Get in it for the long haul, not the spectacle of 1 or 2 episodes.
I'm looking at soups. A couple little things that I'm going to be. A couple of things. The hanging. Serial trying to pick up on Deidre.
He is losing it. It's like, dude, you got a promotion. Just sit down.
He got a promotion thanks to her. And he tried to thank her by taking her out or saying, I could be of assistance. We have the same ideology. We're on the same page. I can't stop thinking about you. You're the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah. Creepy.
She is career-based, asexual, doesn't care about that thing, and he has an infatuation. So I get it.
Emotionally stunted because of his mother.
Because of his mother, the whole stuff with his mother again. Her just, him kind of questioning her, why are you going through my things? And she's like, you're a roommate, and I'm cooking for you.
Yeah, she like berates him about, if it weren't for me, if I was gone, you'd have nowhere to go, and I cook you 2 meals a day, and blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, I got a promotion. She's like, oh, you're the best son ever.
2 meals a day, one of those is cereal.
Right. I don't really think that's...
We have to talk about the beginning music real quick, too. Nicholas Britell has been doing the music for the show, and each episode has been changing. The intro, when they show the Andor title card. This week it was Daft Punk, which we're never
specifically Tron Legacy Daft Punk.
Specifically, this was the song that just didn't quite make the soundtrack. But yeah, it was like it's been changing each time, and this time it was very a very upbeat. Here it comes. Here we go. Let's go. Kind of thing. And then the episode is step.
Yep.
Step.
Yep. They're ratcheting it up.
And, so it was all that. And then we've talked about this a bunch in the other episodes and discussions we've had. Framing. Blocking, framing. Everybody was in a cell in this episode. Oh, we didn't talk about Vel. We didn't talk about Vel. But everybody was in a cell. They showed Serial at home, Sinner in that little box thing
Yeah.
while his mom
Yeah.
sit there and
Yeah.
interrogated him, whatever.
Yeah.
Mothma was framed multiple times. Cassian is in his cell and on the work floor. Biggs is in a cell
Yep.
being interrogated and
Yep.
being tortured.
Yep.
Like, everybody was in a cell, and so it was everybody's in a prison of either their own making or of somebody else's making.
Yeah.
The only one who wasn't was Deidre, and she was the one who moved from all the different locations.
Yeah. Yeah.
We forgot about Val. Val showing up as Mothma's cousin.
Right. And at first I thought, wow, that's cool. They've given her this, not disguise, but persona. But this would have been a long game if she isn't actually her cousin,
Right.
because her daughter obviously has known her for quite a while.
Right.
And so I think she probably really is her cousin.
Right.
Because
and Mothma said there's only 3 people in the world or 3 people in the galaxy who know what I'm about to tell you. When she was talking with her friend.
Yeah. So now we know.
So we know that she's one of them. We know Luthen's one of them.
Right. So we just don't know who the third is.
We are not. I don't believe we're to Bail really being involved in the rebellion.
I wonder if it's the guy.
He's secretly doing stuff, but I don't think they're all together yet.
Like the head guy in Rogue One, kind of the commander of everything.
Yeah.
I wonder if he and her know each other somehow
because you've got the one guy, who Javik, who's in Rogue One with Cassian, but he's in the prison.
Yeah,
I wonder
with
if
him.
I wonder if they've shown him without really showing him or mentioned him, and we're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, and they might in one of the next couple.
But her being and Mon making a point of telling her, try to play the part of the spoiled rich kid when you go home, just to kind of pull some of the attention away from you that you've been gone for 6 months and stuff. And so it was just a very interesting. And that we've all been saying that Val is directly connected to Luthen, like daughter kind of feel. I still think that's possible.
Yeah,
that Mothma and Luthen are brother sister. I could go with that story.
Yeah,
but
well. And if they were
uncle.
brother sister, no, she would be her niece.
But if he's uncle, niece, cousin, right? So because Luthen's oldest, so his brother or sister had Mothma because he's from money. Mothma's from money, and then that would make Val her cousin. No. Okay.
No.
I'm, like I said, working out my feelings.
No, if Mothma was Luthen's sister?
If Mothma was Luthen's sister's kid.
Okay, yes, then that would make her...
And then that would make her a cousin.
Them cousins.
Cousins, if they're... But if I still think that the 3 of them are related or connected somehow more than just they're fighting the rebellion.
Well, we have,
together.
what, three more episodes to...
And we gotta get Cassian out at least in the next 2 episodes. Because they're not gonna save that till the end.
Yeah.
So, and
I think it'll be in the next episode when they bring in Olaf's replacement.
Yep, I agree. So that is our discussion about, and I feel much better about this episode now that we've worked through it.
Here for you.
So let us know what you thought of this episode and our discussion and review of it in the comments down below. Please be nice. It's a requirement around here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Follow us on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Links in the description down below. And until next time, cult members, good afternoon, good evening, and good night now.